Welcome to the Monday Night Men's Forum. I am Matt of FarmHopLife. This is episode 26. We're going to talk about heritage and heirlooms, specifically like seeds and stuff, but maybe we'll get into other quirky things. Tonight we have Christopher of Secure Coop, Jeremy, DeweyLikeDonuts on TikTok, Scott of Thriving in the Future podcast, and Grant of Homestead of Pain. How's it going tonight, guys?
All right.
Good.
Pretty good.
All right. Personal events. Christopher, you're first.
Yeah, I think I told you I'm trying to work on testosterone and starting to feel a little bit of that. And I don't know, it's kind of coming along. And while I had some time this weekend, I was thinking through protecting the homestead and looked up YouTubes and videos about different ways that people can produce improvised weapons and perimeter defense, and just starting to think through a plan for if things would happen to go sideways. What can I do with what I've got, and what could I go out and get? And so I just started thinking that through, and we're working on the outer fence this week, and I guess that's what's making me think of it. So, yeah.
Gotcha. As far as the testosterone, I'm just going to ask you, are you sunning your balls? It's a thing. There's science behind it.
I have never heard of that.
You got to look it up.
Oh, my God.
That's a great question. I'm going to leave you with imagination.
All right. I
never heard of it,
teased.
so I could do... it's Florida, so I could I often go outside, take off the shirt, and just sort of walk around without the shirt, but I don't know about going that far.
Do we need to do a pants check? Are you wearing pants right now?
I am wearing pants.
Ah, okay. I guess
Stand
I'll
up and
take word
prove
for
it.
that too.
Yeah,
prove it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see his pants. I don't see pants.
Oh, you're just not looking.
He's wearing pants. Dang it.
Yes, I am.
Oh, shoot. All right.
Yeah, but it is nippy enough, and I'm such a Florida cold weather hater that I've got my feet in a foot warmer, so I'm doing that.
You could have your old lady knit you something for your
Oh man,
something.
yeah.
That's funny.
All right, Jeremy, go ahead.
Oh gosh, I did something today that I never thought I would do, and that's take a chicken to a vet.
Your chicken that's
Yeah.
egg bound.
Well, she's not egg bound.
Not that one.
Nope, she's
Not
not.
the same one.
Well, it's the same chicken, but she's not egg bound.
Uh,
She looked like she was egg bound. She acted like she was egg bound, but she's not egg bound. Sauerkraut. So.
Sauerkraut,
no,
that chicken's name?
What's that?
Sauerkraut, the chicken's name?
No, sauerkraut. No,
Oh.
the chicken's name is red. Sauerkraut is their crop is basically like a bacteria infection in the crop. And
Ooh.
anyway, probably not gonna make it. But
Oh man.
she took over my TikTok page in the last 5 days.
Wow.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
You
well,
did,
I mean, 56,000 new followers. Yeah, so Red's got
because
the
of a
spotlight.
chicken.
Because of a chicken. Went from
Yeah.
148 to 204.
Oh,
You're gonna
my
have to
goodness.
get that thing taxidermied if she goes. Like,
She's gonna sit right back here.
yeah, exactly. You just carry her around with you in all your videos now.
Okay, so you're gonna have to
Yeah.
you gotta get a new chicken that looks just like that chicken.
I got
She
one that's
made it
close. Her name's Ginger, and she's acting the same way.
Oh no. Well, then get another new chicken
Yeah.
and then call her the same chicken, and then just keep the whole story going.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So, sauerkraut can be fixed, but it never really truly goes away. Like once they get sauerkraut, it usually always comes back. But I mean, she's 2.5 years old. I mean, it was kind of interesting because I've always thought of people that take like chickens to the vet as kind of weird and kooky. Just like that's like it's a chicken, like they have short
It's a
lives.
50,000 follower chicken though.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
That's
It
that's
is.
a vet worthy chicken.
So that chicken went here, but here, all right. Truth be told, the main reason was because I was concerned about the rest of my flock.
Well,
Because
true.
if it's a
That's fair.
parasite,
That's
like I
fine.
need to nail
That's
down
fine.
what it is, because if it's contagious, if it's a respiratory, who knows what it is. And so I needed to make sure that it didn't impact the rest of my flock too. So, I'm gonna see if we can fix her up.
No,
Had to deal
amazing,
with some crazy comments on TikTok for people like, "Oh, that's dumb. This is a chicken." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a chicken. So what?"
Like, I'm not asking you to pay the vet bill for a chicken. Like, this
I
is
did,
on me.
man. I had
Like,
somebody said, "Well, can we set up a GoFundMe for an X-ray?" And I'm like, "Whoa, chill. Like it's."
like too
Anyway.
far. Like, it's
I
funny
mean,
that
like,
you have
if you
both
want-
sides of the spectrum. Like,
Right.
people that want to have like a
Did you get the
like a
nutso vegans?
mass.
That's
What's that?
funny.
Did you get the nutso vegans coming in?
Oh, the nuts of
I didn't have any
vegans.
of no, I didn't have any vegans coming in that I know
Yeah,
of.
okay.
I'll say that
The
my
vegan hecklers, right?
yeah. There's a lot of people that were just like irate. Why would you not take her to the vet? Why? Because not all vets take chickens. I had to drive 30 minutes to
And
find a
it's
vet that.
still livestock. Sorry.
It
Yeah.
is. I mean, like they're pets, sort of. I mean, like they have personalities, but it's still livestock. I mean, they've got short lives. They serve a purpose, and I care for them. But they're not going to sleep in the bed with me. They're not.
You say that now. Next week.
Next week, yeah, you're gonna 50 to 75 to 200,000 follower chicken. That's a vet
It's
worthy
crazy,
thing.
man. The fact that
If
so
I
many
hit
people.
200,000 followers, I'll let this chicken sleep in my bed.
Yeah,
Nope,
Wow.
not with it.
That's what you said about the raw egg too. And look what happened.
199,000 off with her
Were
head.
you there? Did you watch? That's the
I
other.
missed
That's
it.
the other thing. I ate 2 raw eggs this week.
Why did you do that without me?
It
I
ain't
lo-
fun.
I lost a battle on TikTok.
Oh,
Battle. A battle.
Yeah,
What
it's
does
like
that
you do like the
mean?
battles back and forth, and it was. So there's this
No,
other
I
chicken
don't.
person.
I do
Huh?
not know what you're talking about. A battle on TikTok going
So
back
like you
and
can
forth?
put like two people or side by side, and like you tap the screen and get the likes, or people can gift you.
Okay.
And whoever gets the most points wins the battle. And basically, it was whoever loses has to take a raw egg.
Oh.
And this other girl's a chicken person too. She's like, "Hey, we should do a battle." I'm like, "All right, let's do it." I lost twice.
Yeah, I came in late, so I had no idea what that was all about. But
Yeah, it was not fun. I'll never do it
Anyways.
again. I say that, but anyway, that's my personal. I've had a lot of food this week. Next,
I can't remember who
millennials and
came in
your
next. I think
egg
it was
eating
Grant.
and your Tide Pod
Grant.
eating.
Tide Pod.
no.
Only
Is the
when-
chicken gonna make it?
I'm not really sure. Prognosis isn't good. It's a lot further along than I thought it would be. She's pretty thin, so we'll see. I'm going to see if what
And is it
we can do. What?
is it going to be contagious?
No, sauerkraut's
No?
not contagious.
Are you giving them like any shots for iron, anemia, or anything like that?
No, I'm going to give her some mineral oil, clear out her crop, give her some mineral oil, some apple cider vinegar, and it'll kind of hopefully kill what else kind of going on in there. And hopefully she'll put some weight back on. And
Now,
be
if
fine.
she does, are you going to keep that as like a monthly treatment?
So probably not. Apple cider vinegar is really good for them. So I always keep apple cider vinegar in their water. So I'll probably increase the amount of apple cider vinegar in their water and just kind of keep that on an ongoing basis. And hopefully that would solve some of it.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll find out. I'm figuring this out as I go because I've never had a chicken with sauerkraut. Anyway,
It still sounds like you're saying sauerkraut, but
Yeah.
sauerkraut.
I've had chicken with sauerkraut.
Me too. It's good. It's really good.
all right, Grant, go.
Personal
event. You back
I
with your
don't
lady?
Well, it's still there. That's about it. Kind of taking a couple steps back from it. I planted chestnuts today for the first time, and I also scarified and planted some canna seeds.
Ooh. Yeah, wife is looking for some chestnuts around here, so we're hoping that our plant man has some.
Plant man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got these from school. The tree's probably 30 years old, maybe. So
Wow.
they're
Cool.
good, and hopefully I'm gonna continue to take all of them from the campus every year until I graduate, and still maybe go back and keep getting them and growing them and sell them to other people. I think they're just Chinese chestnuts, so some people kind of don't like that. They kind of go mixed American or to not perpetuate the blight, but
What about
you
your
do.
job sitch?
I still don't have
yeah.
it. I still don't have it, but I am probably still going to be getting totes.
Totes.
So
I mean, it's
That's all that matters then. Right?
Yeah,
That's
it
all
is.
you really wanted.
Yeah, because next semester I'll be taking 6 classes. I'm still 3 minutes down the road, so I really wouldn't have had time to keep it. It just sucked that the next 3 weeks I'm not able to work.
Sure.
So I'll
Yeah.
probably get something seasonal at Pike's.
Nice. What is
Moving
that?
Pike's Nursery,
Oh, okay.
moving Christmas trees.
Cool.
There you go. Excellent. Scott, go ahead.
Well, I had the whole week off, so I went deer hunting a couple times. Saw a buck, but I had already got my tag filled, so didn't shoot at it. And then, just worked around here, starting lasagna gardening, laying out some beds and growing, building some soil.
So
Have
if you
you-
already had your tag filled, I guess those were does.
I got a buck last month.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have one doe tag left.
Gotcha. You were looking for a doe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a doe mock me a couple of weeks ago. I was climbing down out of the tree, and it was literally 5 feet away from me on the other side of the tree. So,
Nuts.
Where do you live, Scott?
Kansas, northeast Kansas.
They get them big out there. Mom and Dad are in Southern Illinois, and they eat all that corn and that soy, and they're like cows. They're so big.
Yeah,
They
they're
are
monsters. I had a really hard time getting this buck out of the woods last month.
Yeah.
It's just huge neck and everything. And then I took it this year I took it to the butcher to process. And then he brought out this tray of meat, and then he brought out another tray of meat and another tray of meat. And I was like, okay.
Just keep it coming. Yep.
Yeah.
And
All
a
of
new
it.
freezer.
Yeah.
We
Had
have
to get
plenty
some
of
over
deer
one.
down here, but there's really like not a lot of big fields for them to eat on, and so they're just like they're like dogs with antlers, basically. They're small.
Dogs with antlers.
Yeah, they're small.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty small bodied. I think I watched an episode of Meat Eater where he was like hunting in like the Everglades or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not the Everglades, but it was very like marshy, swampy area. And they're like just like big dogs.
Yeah. Rifle season starts this weekend, so we'll see how that works out.
So you went bow hunting. That's
Crossbow.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yep, crossbows allowed in Kansas, so yeah, that was pretty cool.
Our last day of rifle season was yesterday, and I went out yesterday morning and do like the wind and the snow. Saw a couple deer, but not close enough to get a shot. But on Saturday I took a shot and I missed like 250 yards, hit the dirt.
Wow.
But oh well. That's it.
To figure out how to make a crossbow. I told you I was looking at some improvised things and MacGyverized things. You remember the show MacGyver? Maybe I'm
never seen it.
Nobody's ever seen MacGyver.
Yes, I've seen MacGyver.
I know the concept.
Yeah. So he just like takes stuff around him and he starts building stuff, and that's the mindset I'm in, because whenever I'm prepping for things that are kind of like unknown, I don't put a lot of money into something that I may never use.
Sure.
And so I want to instead do the mental exercise. If I'm caught in that situation and I don't have much to work with, what could I do? And so I started to think to myself, I need to look up how to do a crossbow. And Scott, you made me think of that. And so I'm going to go down that rabbit hole.
Watch that German guy on YouTube who's like, "Let me show you its features." He like makes a.
I think
you
I've
know what I'm
seen
talking
him.
about?
I think
He
I've seen
makes
him.
like
Yeah,
he makes all sorts of like archery stuff out of
yeah.
like,
That I've seen
all
him.
cuts, crazy contraptions, and
Yeah,
blah,
he
blah.
did one that was like a repeating crossbow or something. Like,
Yeah, it's
and
kind of nuts.
he did one with wheels instead of arms. It like has a coil, and so it's extremely compact crossbow, just a straight body. There's nothing sticking out like
Right.
this. It's a straight body. And he said, you know, it's not ideal. He explained the pros and the cons with it, but he says it does work. He showed shooting a tin can or something. It's pretty cool.
So, topic tonight: heritage and heirlooms. This is Grant's idea, so it's probably gonna flop. But
And it was my name too. I came up with the whole thing.
all right, Grant. Why don't
Kick
you?
us off.
Yeah, take us off. Let's go.
I take that back.
Yeah, how about that? Huh?
Okay, so like I had brought up a minute ago, the chestnuts. I got those, and me and Scott had talked about this before. Why it means so much that it's from my state, locally, maybe 30 minutes away, is because seeds have a memory, and these seeds from the chestnut tree, when they grow, and they're already acclimated to the climate, they're already ready to go be planted in our area and region to make them last longer, be more resistant to blight and weather and everything like that. And then that also goes from, your new stuff you're growing to seeds that have been around for generations, not only with seeds, but breeds of animal.
Yeah, and everything also. So especially when you're doing the heirloom seeds, it's they all have a memory too, right?
Mhm.
And they thrive somewhere. And then if your place is different, that's one of the problems with getting something from the other side of the country, right? Then I plant it. Like this year, I was all into this landrace stuff with Joseph Lofthouse, right? So landrace is you grow it, you save your seed, you keep choosing the seed that does well every year, and then you get it adapted to your land. And I was like, all right, they've got some squash that supposedly can resist squash bugs. And I got it, and none of that stuff worked in Kansas. So he's in Utah, and even the people around here that were growing some offshoots of his stuff, none of it worked. So,
Now that's not always the rule. There's exceptions, right? Like sometimes
Right.
you can get stuff from other places. So what makes the difference? Is it only the environment, or is there something else genetically that is common? I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of it around here is just it goes from spring to summer and then back to winter. The old Monty Python gag. It goes right back and skips summer and goes right back to winter again, right? So, that's about what
winter.
it's like.
Do you
Yeah.
have any old gardeners or farmers that you can reach out to see if they have any heirloom seeds that went back to maybe their parents or something
Cool.
that they've kept pure? I know Long Story Farms was on here last week, and he was talking about a guy in the Carolinas, with north or south, whichever one he's in, is starting to collect a lot of heirlooms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't have anybody around here. We do have and this is something you should do, is have a local seed swap in the spring, because it gets you want to see guys get all excited. Oh wow,
Yeah.
really, you got that? I really oh wow, I really need to try that and stuff, and it's really funny. And another tip is to go around, or at least around here. We have a whole nother season we can get in, and all of the hardware stores dump their seed displays around 4th of July. So you can go around and you can ask, the hardware store manager or whatever, hey, when you're done with this, can I have the seeds? And one guy's mother had just a huge layout of seeds last spring, and we just traded them all out, and she got it for free because they were going to dump them in the trash.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow.
I know I've tried to do that at Lowe's, but some of the big box stores don't actually own the product they sell. So if
Right.
they're live bulbs and live, plants like that, they don't actually own them. So they have to ship them back to whoever sent them to them. But
Okay.
like,
Well,
and they're
weird
shipping
model.
back dead plants.
well, they're not dead. They're
Therefore-
just not grown. It's like, the bags of bulbs and stuff, like your gladiolus and daffodils and irises and things like that.
No, yeah, I was talking about like I guess I was thinking like tomato plants that you buy.
Oh
at the
yeah, no,
nursery.
they toss those. They throw all
Yeah.
that in their trash compactor. But
Sure.
and but their burpees, seeds, stuff like that, they
Mhm.
just throw those. They throw them away, and I think
Mhm.
it's such a waste.
It is. I've got a guy here locally that he's taken 2 breeds of okra, which I
Wow.
know Matt loves okra. Matt's never had okra,
Nope.
right? Yeah, but like he's taken two different varieties of okra and he's crossbred them and created his own okra, and he's I think he's let them run about 3 generations now.
Wow.
And so like I've got a whole bag of okra, like dried okra. With okra, you got to let it dry on the vine, the plant, and then harvest it for the seeds. But he's got a whole bag of okra that he's just going to give to me for seeds. And then he's got some collard seeds that are some seeds that I've never heard of. Like he's like, I don't know where you can get these anymore. He said, but they were passed down from an older lady that he knew way back, and it's just you can't get that stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And
So I'm like, hey
thing is-
man, you want to share those with me? He goes, only if you promise to never sell them or give them to anyone else.
I was fixing to ask. For
Dang
just 3 or 4. I don't look.
Why?
I don't
Why?
need.
I don't
more than-
really know why he don't want to, because he's the only one around here that's got those.
Yeah.
And I think that he's kind of like, hey, this is kind of my specialty. I don't
Yeah.
want this to like spread out. He's like the only one that's got these. I think, well, dude, what happens if you get hit by a bus? Then
Right?
nobody's got.
That's what I'm
That
thinking.
that gets lost. Like it's not.
Yeah.
I know where he lives.
Yeah. You let me know. I'll help you get in there.
I'm sorry for a loss. Can I have the seeds?
But like, but my thing is, especially when you're saving seeds, the cross pollination and cross contamination of other plants you've
Be
planted.
careful.
So a lot of these, heirlooms that that's like we go to a seed swap. How many of them are still truly going to be an heirloom after that season if they grew them in a garden of a bunch of other things?
Hmm.
You gotta be
Because
trying
like
to save seeds.
squash have to be planted, I think, 1,000 yards away before they can, so they don't cross pollinate. And there's each and every plant has its own distance that requires it to be, so it can be considered not in the same space for cross pollination.
Oh, got kicked out.
Now,
There you go.
there's a flip
back.
side to that as well. I've heard of people saying, you know what, or you got to look up David the Good on YouTube, David Goodman, and what he does is he's like, I know it's hybrid, I know it's been hybridized, I'm still gonna try to grow from it. And he said,
I've got seeds
just
upstairs.
because
I'm gonna do that with next year.
yeah, just because it's hybrid doesn't mean it won't produce true, but it might give you something interesting and new to work with. So
Mhm.
you don't necessarily count out hybrid, and don't necessarily. I think about the dog world, and when you got these dogs that are bred generation after generation after generation after generation of the same interbreeding, and then you see, the Doberman Pinscher is a great dog because it has these characteristics, but it also typically has these health issues. And I'm thinking to myself, that's because of the
'Cause you've bred it
inbreeding
over and over and over. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I can't not imagine that.
That could just come from
wonderful
bad
heirlooms.
breeding practice too.
I suppose, but I just can't imagine that these wonderful heirlooms that we love aren't experiencing that to some degree, that interbreeding.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, it's like chickens. I've got a silky rooster, and then a whole bunch of other hens, and we've hatched 5 chicks by now in the last couple of years, and they're all part silky. All the new ones are part silky.
Yeah.
And like there's one, the last TikTok video that I put out, Elvira on the roof of the coop. And somebody's like, she looks like a barred rock mixed with the silk. And I'm like, that's exactly what she is.
Yeah.
They're like, I need one of these. And I'm like, sorry.
Yeah. So
They're
like that's
easy
what
to
I have.
make.
But then I start
Thank you,
thinking, okay,
Wayne.
how can I reproduce this?
Like with
I
my
don't care that
chickens.
much.
I got all of mine. I went to Tryon, which is about an hour and a half away. I ended up getting them for $7.50 a piece. So I got 2 dozen. And then so they were
Chickens?
they were 2 years old when I got them.
Oh, okay.
And-
They were grown. Okay.
Yeah, and so I got them for $7.50. They were about dead. Like they were all pretty much starved and anemic. They didn't really have many problems, but I got them back, overwintered them, and then they're 4 years now, and they're still laying pretty good. They probably won't make it past the 5th year. But I've used them. I've gotten a lot of fun colored chickens from having them. But then I also have, I drove to Atlanta to get 2 roosters, and then I got chicks from them, and then I ordered some from eBay, and then I hatched those out. So I have 13 roosters, and there's basically a rooster per hen at this point. And then I separated them, and then it's just a true backyard mix of chicks.
Oh, yeah. Mine's
It must
mine
be
are all
loud
mixed.
as hell at your house.
Well, so the thing is, once I separated the roosters from the hens, they shut up. They just stopped.
Huh.
Really?
I've got 13 roosters just chilling in the goat's pen, just hanging around being dudes.
Being dudes.
They're-
They each have their own
Dudes.
IBC tote.
no, I tossed them out there and said, "Look, you live or you die. Don't come back."
Like,
And
Yeah.
they're all out there. I don't really hear much. We actually had a neighbor come and find us because they wanted the person who had the roosters because they wanted to buy some
One of them
chicken.
dead.
No, they wanted to buy some.
shoot, man. My brother's neighbor, he raises roosters and he sells them for purposes.
Oh yeah, okay, I know what you mean.
I
I know a couple
mean,
people
it-
do
I
that.
can't prove that, but it's like, come on.
You know it when you
So,
see it.
The Michael
it-
Vick of
But
chickens.
here's the thing.
Yeah,
Here's the
so
thing.
my brother bought that house, and
Michael Vick's house?
yeah,
Really?
no, Michael Vick's neighbor.
Perfect.
But
I don't think you can do that anymore.
so like his real estate agent showed them the house at night on purpose.
Oh man.
Well, because the roosters aren't crowing at night. It was dark, not
Mm.
crowing. So they're like, hey, we like it, we'll buy it. They bought the house. I go, son of a. No, I mean, there are probably 300 roosters out there, and it's nonstop crowing. Oh, it's bad. It was like,
I'd be leaving a present for that real estate agent.
mm-hmm.
Oh man.
But here's the thing, when I first threw all the roosters together, I watched them, and I just watched them, decide what the pecking order is going to be. And there really is something that it's beautiful just to watch them dance.
It's like watching Gen Pop,
I don't know what that means.
general population in a prison.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Watching
Not-
all the chickens.
Not J-pop, Gen Pop.
Gen Pop. Yeah, General Pop. Yeah, General
I
Pop.
thought that was a TikTok term there for a second.
Sorry.
I never heard of it, so
So yeah, and then like we were talking about in a chat about like sheep, and back to the topic, heritage breeds that have been naturalized to a specific region, to a specific temperature, and to be able to just drop kids in the pasture, clean them up, get them walking, and move on. And that's, I think, when it comes to goats, because I've grown up around goats, I have goats. My parents used to, breed the Texas Gene Master, which is a whole ordeal. But people just water down genetics. They just breed anything with anything, and then they just let it live. Not every animal is meant to live. That's what slaughterhouses are for. And so that's what come like with wormers and parasite resistance, and stuff specifically like sheep and goats is a problem sometimes because people don't breed with purpose.
Sure. Yep.
yeah. That conversation came up because I've got a guy that moved. It's a new neighbor to my plant man, and he is going to try to raise a breed of sheep called cracker sheep. Since they're in Florida, Florida cracker. It's a common thing. So they call them cracker sheep. But they were brought over by the Spaniards 500 years ago.
Matt's got a he's got a funny thing to say there. I could tell.
No, I'm curious what they look like.
Yeah, no,
they're
They
white.
They just look like
They're probably
regular
white.
sheep.
Yeah, just pull them up.
Yeah.
They looked ordinary to me. Or something.
They live in trailer parks down by the swamp. You know.
So these cracker sheep, they were brought over by the Spaniards, and they like sort of let them go out into the swamps and things. And the ones that couldn't, they just look ordinary.
Yeah,
And the ones that
regular
I
sheep.
actually love those. Those
the
are
ones that couldn't handle it, like they had trouble kidding on their own. They died out, and the ones that had issues with parasites, they all died out. And the ones that had problems, with this or that, they all died out. So after 500 years or so, selective breeding, you got this extremely hardy breed of sheep, but is not great at any one purpose. It's not great at meat. It's not great at wooling, and
What
so.
I mean, I know this is an unusual question for sheep. What about milk? Because that's
I don't know, but I imagine it's probably not great at milk either. But it's just really good at all those. And so this Florida industry raised up around raising these sheep until the wool production, in the United States sort of declined off, and they would gradually, one by one, the farms were selling off their cracker sheep, and they finally got down to the final herd of 70 sheep, and they put them on a trailer, and they had sold them, and they were shipping them off to the slaughterhouse when the University of Florida stepped in and said, "Hey, no, we want these sheep. We want to recover this breed." And since then, they have discovered two very small little flocks, but they're trying really hard to recover them. And the great thing about them is they're just so bulletproof. You get them, and they just don't die.
So I started looking for them to see if I
slaughterhouse.
could find some. And Florida Cracker Sheep Association on Facebook, a lot of people there talking about, wanting to get started with one. And this one guy posted in October, he had 30 ewes and a ram for sale. And so if your friend, wants to get on that and see if he can, score a few, I don't know how, like again, the registration goes, but these look awful lot like that.
He was telling me that someone will post an ad and they'll be sold within 10 minutes or something. They're just so popular. And so he's on some waiting list now. And, I'm hoping that he can start raising them, and maybe one day, hey buddy, show me how you're doing this. And let's try and figure this out for our own property. So I'd love to do that.
Because all you would need is really just an ewe, and then maybe go get a ram of a different hardy breed, and then you can populate them that way.
Yeah.
Or just get a ram and then go half and half that way.
And we did a similar, and this goes into more like natives instead of heirloom. Like we raised Everglade tomatoes, which are really tiny little tomatoes, and they are very, very good. They just taste good. You can put them in the ground and like ignore them, and they put out a lot of not heavy production. That's the thing about like relying on heirlooms and natives and things, is that you're going to get a solid, easy plant, but you're just not going to get pounds and pounds of it.
Yeah, and that's like that's one
them.
thing to have to juggle. Are you going production, or are you going it's going to produce and not die from pest and disease? Are you going to have to use herbicide, pesticide, fungicide? How much fertilizer are you going to need to add to it? Is it going to have to be babied? Stuff like that. I didn't know Florida had a native tomato plant.
We have a tomato plant. We also have a native squash, pumpkin rather, and we grew those as well. They're called Seminole pumpkin, and they are flawless. You put them in the ground, you walk away, they take over the yard. They're 50 feet long, one vine. I was like, oh my gosh! And they're
but how do they taste?
We didn't taste any. She gave them all away. Yeah, she gave them all away, my wife. But that's all right.
They're like a baking pumpkin, aren't they? Like a stew pumpkin?
I think they are. People have said they taste good, but the thing about them is that they were perfect. They didn't have any problems with pests, nothing. I just put them in the ground. I ignored them the whole time. I didn't water them or nothing, And but the thing about them is they just, you get these enormous plants and you get like 8 little little pumpkins, and they're pretty little things. They're different colors and bumpy, and they're nice looking little plants, but they just don't have huge production numbers, and that's acceptable if you're like me, you're just kind of just starting out and we're just kind of learning things. But my wife was talking about that. I told her about the subject of tonight's show, and she said, yeah, tell them that it's one thing to grow them yourself, but if you're trying to do it for production, you not only have that problem of the low productivity that turn out, but they also have the problem of recognition. Like when you're people like the idea of heirloom and heritage breeds until they grow to try and buy it in the store, and they're like, well, my plant man Sam, he said he was thinking of doing some heritage chickens, and people just weren't really all that interested in it. They wanted the taste of a different kind of meat. And so he went back to more of a production breed of it. So, you're doing it for yourself. That's one thing, but trying to make money off of it, it's a little weird because people are just not accustomed to looking at it. What is that? As a Seminole squash, it's a pumpkin. What's that? Why does it look that way?
You gotta give it a spin, because most people, they're stupid. They're just consumers.
Yeah. They want the big orange pumpkin with the smooth flesh, and that's what they want.
And but for me, collecting heirlooms and heritage, it's not only the history that comes with it, it's having it in your family, making it a part of your history and your heritage by keeping those in the loop, keeping those in the family, and adding to that collection. And then maybe, like you said, with your pumpkins, those are, maybe over the next 10 years, you can selectively breed down and take from plants that have better production, and over the years have a more hardy, better producing heirloom.
Well, even like taking cuttings, we had my grandparents had a scuppernong vine in Florida, and they sold the house. They were going to move up here, or my grandfather died, and so then they were clearing out the house. My grandma was going to move in with my mom, and she's like, well, hey, do you want some cuttings? And I'm like, yeah, I'd love them. And so took them to our old house and grew them there, and we sold that house. I'm like, well, I'm going to take a cutting, and I brought it here. So we've got scuppernong vine growing out there. It's just
I'd be bringing in a backhoe.
But you can take a cutting though, and you can just regrow it. I mean, it's still
like elderberry cuttings. That's one thing I did last week, and around here, I just take a stick and stick it in the ground, and it takes off.
Yeah.
Much more than putting in it. I tried to grow them under grow lights, and they did really well, but then they didn't transplant well. So I just stick a stick in the ground.
Really,
I have a it's maybe 30-year-old pomegranate, but it's a wonderful something. And we took a cutting from my grandmother's tree, planted by the house. It got 9.5 feet tall.
Wow.
And then it actually died the beginning of this year because it put out foliage and it went crazy.
That's so disappointing.
And then we got a cold snap, and the whole thing just dead.
Oh man!
But a year before, I took a limb and I laid it down, staked it in, and it grew. It's about 4 feet tall now, and so there's another one, but it's still good at the base. So we sawed it down because I then use it as a trellis for my moonflowers, and so I sawed it down to the bottom. So next come spring, it should start putting up shoots again. And then I'm going to take those small shoots and just cut them and then just stick them in the ground, and they should root. I rooted maybe 2 dozen of them, by just sticking them in the dirt. No root hormone, no specialty, just sticking them.
Elderberries?
No, pomegranate.
Pomegranate, yeah.
So what's moonflowers?
Moonflower is a tropical moonflower from zones 11 to 12.
Really?
It's the South African or sub-Saharan just morning glory. They're about 6 to 7 inches in diameter. Smell, I can't describe the smell. It just smells like clean. It's great. The whole plant's toxic from the sap to the root, but most beautiful flowers. I will send Matt a picture.
Isn't this the one that glows like at night?
It only blooms at night or in dusk. So if the sun's out, it won't.
And they look
it won't
moon
bloom.
shaped, don't they?
It's
My wife
just-
got some.
It's a flower.
I think she's
I
growing
mean,
some. And I don't know if it's survived.
So I've collected so that's what I did today was sort seeds. So it had for every flower, it'll put a seed pod, and each seed pod can have between 3 to 4 seeds. And so some nights this had 34 blooms on it.
Wow.
It's incredible. Wasp love it. If you want to attract pollinators, wasp will just flog to it. But I ended up bagging 600 seeds, spec free in a little snack bag. But then it has to be, and I weighed them out. I did, how much a seed weighs and all that. And then to calculate like what if I wanted to sell them, what I sell them for, it's about 20 cents a seed. But I've got maybe 2,000 in a bag, but they're blemished. Some are moldy. I just got tired of sorting them. So here's my thing.
I'd get tired of counting them.
back to the question of back to seeds. If they're not perfect, if they're they're supposed to be white but they're orange or yellow or brown, would you even bother with planting it even if it did sprout and grow, or would you basically cull that seed and get rid of it?
So it depends how much you have, maybe.
I was going to say, do you have the option, or are you limited into what is growing?
What do you mean?
Like do you have if you have 5 of them and 3 of them suck, can you take 3 of them out and so you just have the 2 left, or are you?
So I've already got them sorted. So I've got about 600 that are just about perfect, and then I've got maybe 2,000 that have blemishes. Some of them are just completely not viable. But would you go through and still plant the ones that look rough around the edges?
Sure.
Yeah. And
like I don't know if that would
Yes,
affect production or growth.
No, and then call those, right? So it's just like with the chestnuts. I plant a bunch of those, and then some of them come up, and then I call them after they come up.
Okay, because my grandmother actually got these seeds and planted them at her house last year, and they were great. I drove up one night about 30 minutes just to go look at them bloom, and then I ended up collecting them, bringing them back home, and then I started some this year, and they won't overwinter because it's from zone 11 to 12.
Say your zone is probably.
So they are technically a perennial if you're in the right zone, but we're not. So
what's zone 11? Like Costa Rica or something?
I honestly have no idea.
Like the tip of like Miami Keys.
So I figured
the Keys,
each year that I have them and grow them, they'll get more and more used to the climate. So I just wanted, because they produce seeds like nobody's business. And I figured, I just wondering what to do with just spread thousands of them out along the fence line and cover them up with straw and see what happened. Or what?
I've done stuff like that before, just throwing out seeds, and if it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I tried harvesting some honey locust pods from like outside like a doctor's office when my wife was like seeing her high risk like OB and stuff. And so we got like all these honey locust pods, and I'm like popping them open. And
what is a honey locust?
Honey locust is a tree.
Like a locust tree?
That's like the demon tree that's got thorns on them.
Can be. This one was not thorns.
But if you breed them out.
Robina pseudoacacia?
That sounds right. I've heard, so this one was thornless, but I've heard that if you try to grow it, like it still has thorns, and I didn't really care. It was just kind of like something to try. And so
you can actually eat the beans. It tastes like licorice though.
Yeah.
Black licorice specifically.
Yeah, the only thing you have to watch out for is, they may spawn a thorny tree.
So that's what I was getting at. Like it could still produce thorns, even though the
recessive trait.
Right. Yeah.
But,
and so it like I potted them. Like I read up like how to start whatever from seed, and I potted them, and like some of them took, but then they got like stunted right away. And it just like wasn't working. I think the pot I had them in was too big. I didn't start small enough. to put them into a bigger pot later. Like I started with a decent sized pot for a bunch of them, but that was kind of a bummer. And then also this summer, like totally went to hell in a handbasket, and I neglected the shit out of them. So
Well,
they all
even-
died.
Even if they have
Yeah.
spikes, let them grow for 7 years and then cut them down and use them as post.
Yeah,
Man, something you
doesn't
can't
bother
kill.
me that it has thorns. I don't care.
Great for a perimeter.
I was just
Yep.
gonna say that. Yeah.
And Christopher, I actually sent you something. Canadian Prepper did a video,
Okay.
kind of dealing with what I sent it to you on.
Yeah,
Twitter,
I've probably
I
already
think.
seen it.
And talking about it's this specific tree. It has these little orange berries that are edible, but the whole tree, it's
Simpson stopper.
you know what? I'll just pull it up.
If
and see if I
it
can.
sounds like a Simpson stopper, and my plant dude, he's got some, and I was like, man, these things look like large raisins, but they're orange. They have a orangey flesh, and you just eat them whole, and they're
But
like,
it's-
almost like a tiny
but
kumquat.
the tree's covered in needles.
No, I don't remember that.
No, this one, the tree is covered in needles, and this guy
Okay.
he has his whole perimeter because he's in the plains, so he has some
Yeah.
his wind protection. He has big evergreens behind it,
I think I've seen it.
but
Yeah, I
he
think
just
I've
the
seen video.
whole, and it's like that. That's awesome. That's smart.
Yeah.
So he uses it for perimeter security, right?
Security and food, since it's like that. That's a perfect. We want to talk about dual purpose and your heritage. Animals.
Yeah, that's good.
You
Yeah.
got that tree is an awesome dual purpose thing as well.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
Well, they don't take up that much space if you're using the perimeter. It's not in the
Yeah.
middle of your yard. It's
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And
You don't
created
gotta-
an
you-
edge too. That's
You don't
cool.
gotta cut around it and smack yourself in the face and look like you've gone through a blender.
And certain
Well, I thought
wild
you were gonna say it
edibles,
looks like Scott.
certain wild edibles will have those all those characteristics of the thorns and fast growing and good hedges, but they also make like a fruit that people aren't aware is edible, like silverthorn.
so they're not trying to come and get it.
What in
Yeah,
the
they
heck
don't
is
try to come-
silverthorn?
It looks like a holly kind of a thing,
Right.
but it's got an edible fruit, and it's fast growing and turns into a hedge. So
Hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
it may not be for your zone. I don't know.
Probably not.
What- yeah.
One of my favorite things to get seed from is just straight up like squash or pumpkin because it's so easy. Like you just like my wife bought a couple pumpkins for us to like carve and for my son to like paint instead of carving, and like open them up and take out all that seed, and like the stereotypical like orange pumpkin, like we roasted those seeds, but some of like the other ones that were like kind of weird, we saved those seeds, and then after we were done like cutting them up, we ended up like throwing them in the oven. One of them was like really good. It was like it was kind of like stringy, like almost like spaghetti squash kind of.
I love spaghetti
But
squash.
But it's thinner. It's even thinner than like the strands when you go to like shred it. And so
Where
we
did you
saved
get
all
'em?
the seeds. Like a nursery down the road from us, and I don't think we know the name of them, so we just like have the seeds saved.
Just like a
and
funk, like
then,
the fall funky gourd decoration.
kinda. And then there's another one that she bought. It was like this massive, like 40-pound pumpkin.
Nope.
Have no idea what that is, but we saved the seeds for that, and so I'm like, whatever.
Big mama.
We'll grow them,
See
and
what
they can
happens.
be chicken food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We had a pumpkin that we just threw out in the yard. This has been years ago, and we just threw it out in the yard and smashed it and just kind of let it rot. This is before I had chickens and really gardened, and I didn't think anything about it. And the next year, like there's just like massive, like I mean, like think about like all the seeds in a pumpkin sprouting in. It was like this
Sure.
massive, like I'm like that was where that pumpkin was.
Yep.
I mean, you just throw them on the ground; they'll just grow.
I should have done that instead of tried so hard.
Toss them out.
Matt, I sent you some pictures of the moonflowers if you wanted to pull them up so everybody could see.
Telegram or
Telegram.
man, making me work for it.
Well, it's your channel.
I guess it's good content.
Yeah. Are the leaves the one that are actually shaped like a moon? Because I think that's what my wife is growing.
No, these
No.
there's the leaves. There's like your standard
Okay.
what do you call it? Morning glory, the heart shaped leaves.
She had something, and it looked so strange. Those were
Oh.
cool.
Yeah, that does look like morning glory.
Dang, giant.
They're huge,
Yeah.
and I
That's bigger than
cannot.
your hand right there, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my arm. They smell. They're the best thing I think I've ever smelled when it comes to flowers.
I bet
Better
all
than
the
carnations.
bees from 8 miles around came looking for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not really any bees, but wasps. So many wasps, which is
That's,
it's
that's
like
what I was going to ask is what is like. So I'm always of the opinion of plant stuff that's useful.
yeah.
Like, so what's
Yeah.
the purpose? And don't just plant like shrubs. Like, find a shrub that's
Yeah.
got a dual purpose. Like, that's kind of always been mine.
Like or
So-
even if they're not, plant a native shrub like
Sure.
North America, Alex vomitorium, Yopon holly. Those are
Mhm.
natives.
Mhm.
They're medicinal. They
Yep.
sometimes have berries that are edible. There are so many
And tell them
things.
about the Yopon, what you can do with it.
If you want, it can make you vomit. The Indians used
No, not that. No, maybe it's a
If you
Florida
want.
Yopon or something, but the Florida Yopon is the only caffeinated plant in Florida.
Yeah. It's also
Mm.
caffeinated.
Yeah.
Um,
So you can make a
again,
tea out of it.
I don't know much about it, but the Indians used to drink
So you
drink
can
it really
make a tea and make
quickly.
you vomit.
Huh.
that what-
They used to do it after dancing for hours, and so
Dang.
with that influx of fluid, that would then make them vomit, which is where we get the name Alex vomitorium. It doesn't make you vomit if you eat it or make it into a tea. Just don't work out for 4 hours and then chug gallons of it.
Gallons.
Yeah, was
Noted.
it like hallucinogenic or whatever also, or
I don't think so.
no? Okay.
We've got a
Definitely
plant growing in the greenhouse. It's
Scott was
technically
interested, but
It-
not,
it's
if
a
you can't
weed.
get high.
I forgot what it's called, but it
Hold
is
on.
a
Can anything
hallucinogenic.
can anything that's said here get you banned, Matt?
No.
I don't really care.
All right,
I
I
don't
don't
know. Homestead Padre. Homestead Padre got doxxed from some of the stuff he was doing.
All right,
Yeah.
is anybody gonna shoot up anything? No,
Like a school?
I think we're good.
Like a
are you wanting sports? specific?
I go to class tomorrow morning. We'll see.
There, we just got banned on YouTube.
That's it. That's
The
it.
algo
We're
will
done.
pick that up.
Come on,
It's all
Grant.
Grant's fault.
Have some class. Don't do a school.
Yeah,
Make it-
a kindergarten. Something,
I think if you did like a Tesla dealership, they'd be made a martyr in some groups.
I mean,
You ain't joking.
Look, I'm gonna tell you the fact. Like, Twitter for the last few weeks has been amazing. Just to watch,
I haven't
Ju-
even been on
just
it.
just to sit back
enjoyed
and
the
watch
fun.
everything just unfold.
I still think it's a honeypot.
Yep.
You guys go ahead. You go ahead. You use Twitter and work out all the kinks. We'll see what happens in a year or so.
I don't really give a crap what happens to Twitter. I'm just
Oh, I don't
I'm
either.
just
I think
there.
I think it's entertaining. That's my whole thing. Is
Yeah.
it's just been entertaining since he's
I'm
taken over.
I'm hoping they use it to make a competitive platform to YouTube. It's already there,
Yeah.
and it's like you can pivot that so quickly.
Mhm.
If
Oh, okay.
I mean, really, you could.
Probably he's going to be doing a payments system where he still owns X.com from back in the PayPal days, so he's probably going to connect Bitcoin or Lightning or something and turn it into a way to settle payments across the globe, and that could really be a game changer. So
Payments are already enabled though, because like I have payments enabled on my account, and so
Yeah.
like someone could tip me in either Bitcoin or Lightning. I don't remember. I think it's
he's
specifically
talking about
Bitcoin.
something though with X. He says Twitter X is coming, and it'll have by 2025 it'll have 100,000 users or something, and that just sounds like he's going for something big. So
Yeah, I mean, and go for it. I mean, surf the crash as it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
and you could maybe you want to fund somebody in China who's doing some crazy stuff right now because they're having a bunch of rioting and
Yeah.
protesting. You could
It's-
fund it and not
it
worry
hasn't
about your account
stopped.
getting shut down. It's that kind of thing.
What's so crazy is the stuff in China hasn't stopped. It's been nonstop, rioting and chaos for the last 2 years. Countless people starving, being locked in their rooms, and nobody here is talking about it.
Spraying them with
Hearing about it.
drones.
We're
Yeah.
finally hearing about it.
It'll just get squashed in
Sure.
the next week. It'll just disappear. A couple
Maybe.
months later, we'll see some more footage come out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
If I get 1,000 followers on YouTube or Twitter, I'll take or Twitter. I'll send my 3D printer here to China so someone can 3D print some guns.
You're gonna have the SD an SD card with all the files on them ready to go.
Yeah. Put the
No, can't hear you.
Liberator
Still can't hear you,
plans
Matt.
on there.
Yeah, I could just throw it on there. The FGC9 or
Just have it preloaded.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Liberator.
Plaskatov or whatever, the plastic AK-47. There was a guy who 3D printed a like an RPG. It was awesome.
That gum.
I don't know if I want to be the one to test
I'm not.
that.
I'm not
Really?
testing that. Mm-mm.
I'd get a
I
string.
don't know where you'd get the shell for it. I mean, like,
Yeah.
sure, you've got the thing, but
He
like,
3D
thing.
printed that too, I guess.
Hot
could.
bombs aren't that hard.
Holy crap.
Hey, what's the craziest thing that you've printed, Matt?
dude, I don't.
Study guide.
A big like a pile of trash because like it just turns into spaghetti.
No. You made the spaghetti model?
Yeah, I made the spaghetti model. It's
Yeah, good.
Mm.
I printed a 64-page PowerPoint. That's the biggest thing I've printed.
You printed a PowerPoint.
He's
What
talking
is
about
that?
3D printers.
On a,
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
okay, I was
Are
like,
you
how did you
being-
3D
Oh,
print?
okay. Okay.
God,
He's
get
playing
him
it.
out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take him out. There you
You
go.
You booted him.
You did.
Grant, just sit there and think about what you've done.
Put him in timeout.
Yeah.
He's in timeout. Oh, no.
How do I? Can I move it? Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
can move them
That's
around. I can move
fantastic.
everybody around. I'm gonna just switch it. And that replaces. Okay.
Oh, that was fantastic.
That's
Boo,
good.
Grant. Boo. Do better.
Timeout.
I mean, that was me doing better.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. We're talking about Twitter and 3D printed guns. I did forget to send everybody to send that whatever we were talking about last week, the Anarchist Cookbook, but the better version of it. I forgot to send that out. I'm gonna make myself a
The
note.
real version.
Yeah.
Well, you
yeah.
just said a bunch of buzzwords that are going to get you kicked
Real
Let's
dangerous.
get on-
This is
Let's get on a new list.
yeah. I want to go for the
So we've talked about
hit all the
heirloom.
agencies.
We've talked about
Mhm.
heritage. Now I know Christopher brought it up, but let's talk natives. We talked natives for a bit. We have the
Yeah.
pawpaw. We have maypop,
Right.
which is a passion fruit. Anybody else have any other natives that they're trying to cultivate?
Yeah, pawpaws.
Muscadines.
I got some
Yeah,
pawpaws.
muscadine. For the life of me, I can't find a pawpaw tree. I've walked, maybe 60, 70 acres that are full of persimmons and all kinds of other fruit producing trees, but not a single pawpaw.
I found a lady locally that has she gardens and propagates and grows things and then sells them. And I got some pawpaw trees from her. They're about 18 inches tall.
What did that run you price wise?
$30.
Okay.
And then also got some comfrey from her, which I've tried to kill and I can't kill it.
Good.
Keeps growing back.
Good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got comfrey crowns and root too. So yeah.
I don't know what comfrey is.
It's,
What?
You of all
Comfrey.
people don't know what it is.
How do you not know?
I can't know everything, okay? I know,
Oh,
I
man.
know it seems like
Talk
that.
like you do. Yeah.
Well, that's just how you have to talk.
Yeah, it was interesting. I saw an article on a skill cult earlier this afternoon that said, everybody plants comfrey as a companion around apple trees and stuff. and in some climates, it will outcompete
Wow.
the apple for
Nutrients.
water.
How do you spell it?
COMFRY.
COMFREY.
FREY. It's
EY.
it's like a fertilizer. It's like a medicine. It's hard to kill. It doesn't grow great here, but it does grow here, and it's just an all around darn useful plant. It's just a really good one to have in your.
You can augment. Some people augment their feed to chickens and stuff with it. My chickens won't eat it, but
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, and then I made some comfrey salve and put it on my pumpkin head here. So it was really bad a couple of days ago. So
I ended up getting that comfrey from this lady last fall, and it came in those little 4x4 inch pots, and I got like 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really know where I wanted to put it in the ground, so I just kept them in the pots. Completely neglected them, and like they ended up dying. So I thought. I was like, oh dang it! I was like, I got one. I can propagate it and get it. As long as I've got one, I'll be fine. And but I just started watering them, and all of a sudden, all 6 of them came right back. And I'm just thinking, you gotta be kidding me! Like they were dead, completely dead, but they weren't. You can't kill it.
Yeah, you can take a crown and chop it up, and it'll make 6 plants.
Mm-hmm. I mixed. I planted a mix of crowns and root cuttings last year, so I should have like something like 50 of them come up next year.
Speaking of crowns and chopping them up, so have any of you ever heard of tilling under an asparagus bed, with the asparagus plants getting tilled in with the soil as well to create new crowns and new plants?
No,
I've heard of somebody doing that with something else, but I can't remember what he said.
I don't, because I just couldn't think I could bring it to myself.
Oh,
to
Jerusalem artichokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't think I could ever come to myself to till under an asparagus bed.
Yeah, I've never tried that. My asparagus is spotty as it is, so.
Who was it? I think it was on this channel. They were saying they put Jerusalem artichokes in places where the state comes by and mows, intentionally doing that because when the state mows, it chops up the bed, disperses them out, and then you get more artichoke plants next year. That's brilliant. That's permaculture right there.
Yeah.
Until they come and spray it.
The state's good for.
Oh, I don't think they spray it. I think he said they don't spray it.
That's good.
Yeah.
What haven't we covered yet? We're already past an hour.
Matt, we're past an hour.
Make something an heirloom. Time.
I think it's 7 years.
Something an heirloom.
7. Are you sure?
I think I've heard 7 years. I think I've heard. I mean, I don't know that. I'm just thinking.
It was 40.
How many?
40.
40. Oh, then
we got a couple heirlooms with us tonight.
I think
well,
people
all right. So let
heirlooms.
me back up. 7 years to make a stable. Maybe I'm thinking 7 years to make a stable variety.
That sounds so. Heirloom seeds,
not an heirloom, but
typically considered an heirloom if it existed more than 50 years. But some plant experts classify seeds cultivated before World War II as heirlooms. So I would say that like around 40 to 50 years.
I don't know why I was thinking because like I've got some.
So does that make oak trees heirlooms if they're 150 years old?
Yeah.
Now, what about just aged by itself doesn't necessarily make it open pollinated and easy to it will produce true necessarily, right? You could have some old hybrids. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so age is not necessarily the only thing.
What about something like a mint variety or oregano or something like that that just kind of you reproduce through cutting and stuff like that? So like I have gotten the last bit of from my great grandmother's house. It's a fuzzy applewood mint, woolly mint, stuff like that, and that was probably been there 50, 60 years.
Wow.
And would that be considered an heirloom now? Since it grows every year from root?
Perhaps.
Yeah, I guess. Like, depends on how technical you want to get with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like heirloom is just thrown around.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
and then you makes me ask the
Wonderful,
question:
like-
what's the whole point of going with heirlooms and heritage? And the whole point, as I can see it, is simply durability and reliability.
Yeah.
And longevity. That you're going to get consistent quality results year after year after year. And I think you can kind of pursue that with Scott. You were talking about landrace.
Yeah.
I think you can pursue that on your own without necessarily having to have the heirloom apple from Johnny's apple seed.
Yeah, one thing you have to watch out for with heirloom is actually a disadvantage in some cases. Like an heirloom tomato usually is not blight resistant.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And and so and some of the heirloom apples are, I have real bad cedar apple rust. So a lot of them are, and especially the cider apples, they'll just get blasted. And I've tried to plant some cider trees or cider apple trees, and they just get, the more heirloom they are, the less resistant they are to disease usually.
Sure. That makes sense.
And that's where I think making like a landrace is more of a long-term for your own farm, for your own homestead. For
your own personal use in your own cultivation.
Right. Or in the neighborhood, but not necessarily shipping across the country.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because we touched on that when it comes to stuff like production. Like for me, when I start, my nursery, I probably won't. I may have some heritage tomatoes varieties available, but people recognize name, Better Boy, Tommy Toes, stick to stuff like that. People will buy it just from familiarity, unless you give it some nice funky new twist and sell it as something, maybe something else that it's technically not. Like farmers markets in Atlanta.
Grant. Stop.
Yeah. Hey,
we gotta go.
I'll just say we gotta go, and I'll stop talking.
All right, sounds good. Bye, Grant. All right.
That's twice. That's twice tonight.
It's too easy to pick on him. All right, Grant, you can come back. Just all right. Plug your stuff, Christopher. Go.
Yeah, securecoop.com. Working on a coop door opener with phone notifications, and when there's issues that come up with your coop, and you're going to want to know. So I'm working on an app and a device that opens and closes the door and sends you notifications to your phone. Use the coupon below, FarmHopLife Rocks, to get a coupon and sign up to the mailing list. There's also a coupon, you combine them together, and that will give you updates on when I'm going to be finally coming out with this thing that's taking so long because I keep hitting technical issues, but I'm going to get it. I'm going to keep at it.
Are you gonna make your deadline? You gonna hit it by the end of the year?
I just don't think so.
He's going to break it, and he's going to do it even earlier.
I was talking with my German developer yesterday, and we're working out some things with the notifications, and so headaches after headaches. But we'll get there.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to pre-order one soonish. I got to actually work at the new job first before.
I understand.
Yeah.
I don't have a chicken
list
to even put it on.
Grant, it's not your turn to talk.
Do you have a price point, Christopher, yet?
78 for the device that has no motor. It's only a sensor. So if you already have a coop opener, you can put that on there and it will monitor your coop, or 178 if it has a motor.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
That's really not bad.
I'm competing with other devices in that same price range that are dumb openers. They have no notifications at all. It's just the opener.
You gotta, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me know when it's live, and I'll.
Yeah.
You gotta sign up for his email list to get 40 tips.
Come on.
Yeah,
coop
I will.
safety.
I will. I'll promote the crap out of it.
Come on. I'd love that.
All right, Jeremy, Mr.
Yep.
Bama.
Yeah. Do we like donuts on TikTok and Instagram? We've got a t-shirt business, which I'm not wearing today because it's cold.
Pure Bama
Pure
flannels.
Bama apparel. Pure Bama. Hey man, these were Kohl's special for $2.50 a piece.
Oh, shoot.
50?
I
Dang.
got a whole wardrobe of them.
Dang, I'm going to Kohl's.
Oh, this was years
Jeremy
ago, man.
Jeremy like donuts. Dewey like donuts.
Dewey like donuts. TikTok and Instagram
with
Does
his
Jeremy like
Kohl's
donuts?
affiliate.
Right.
That's
Okay,
funny.
Grant, you can speak now. No, he's just quiet. He's just like, I refuse.
You can follow me with Homestead of Pain. I don't post anything. I don't do anything.
You need to.
You need to.
I know I need to.
Just take pictures one at a time.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
26,000 pictures on my
Post them
camera.
up.
Post them.
All at once.
Yeah.
Just a continuous thread.
That's how you become an influencer on Instagram.
Right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna do that at a certain point. I'm gonna start, going through those pictures, picking 4 or 5 of them, talking about them for 90 seconds at a time, and posting those to TikTok. I've just got to start doing that. I don't exactly know how or where to start, but I'll probably do one or two.
I
You
wouldn't
figure it
even
out as you go.
if you don't know, just pick the top one and go with it.
I'm gonna start from the beginning, like my
Yeah.
creation,
Okay.
In the beginning.
raking leaves.
You could always do raking leaves. You could always do a throwback Thursday.
That's funny.
Scott.
Sure. Scott Miller, Thrive in the Future podcast. We're finding positive solutions to thrive in the tough times ahead. Check it out on any your fave podcast app and also thriveinthefuture.com.
Nice.
And if you want to hear me talk more, I will be doing a show with Scott this Thursday. Don't know when it will be edited or posted, but check there if you want to hear me speak some more.
Yep, it'll be out in a couple weeks.
Can't wait to unfollow Scott's show just because it's Daniel's time.
The hate I'm getting is unfounded.
You make
Hey,
it too easy. I don't know why it's so easy to pick on you.
I mean,
man,
you can pick
but
on me
I'm
all you
glad-
want to. It
glad you're
doesn't
here.
touch the surface.
Punching
We're all
bag.
glad you're here, Grant. But
our community punching bag, Grant.
Right.
Grant's super enthusiastic. I got taken a whole bunch of notes to ask him about.
Not to pick favorites or anything like that, but I actually will be on Scott's show tomorrow, much earlier than Grant. And,
We were supposed to do it last.
but are you going to talk as
Tuesday.
much as Grant?
maybe. I guess I'll have to because Scott's interviewing me, so I have to do the heavy lifting. That's how that works, I guess.
Grant, you gotta start creating TikTok videos. Just the information that you've got, the knowledge that you've got, get on there.
Yeah. Go
Okay.
for it, man.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
got
feel
to.
like it's that much though.
You don't, and we'll talk after the show about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Trust
you
me.
need to throw up a WooCommerce site for your nursery.
Yeah, I'm not even there yet, but
Craigslist, even.
I may go ham
Yeah.
this spring with mint, lemon balm. I may go ham with stuff like that. Sell them for
Wow.
$3 to $5 a piece and just move them. People are
There you
gonna
go.
want things that you can eat now. I'm gonna stop talking because I can
Yeah.
keep going.
I had my cursor over the mute mic button.
Look, I'll do it for you. I'll do it.
All right, and I'm Matthew Roser for FarmHopLife. Check us out. We're a traveling host of family. Our 20 by 23 project is super cool and interesting. FarmHopLife.com. Okay, bye.
Hey, is that gonna end up
Thanks for
being
the
a 20